All the juggalos in recovery.
How we have to look at ourselves when we get into sobriety. And we can even bring it further deeper in too. We can bring it in as the way we see ourselves and the way we actually how people actually see us.
Before and
We like
after?
to go deep up in here.
Before and after?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Y'all follow kind of like an AA or NA format or 12 steps?
No, not really. We do have 12 steps for the people that the 12 steps work for, but we focus on healing. And our basic rule is we're a community who helps each other heal, because our addiction is just a symptom of what's happened in our past. So we find a way to deal with the main problem instead of identifying as our addiction. So far, it's been helping a lot of people, so we're just going to keep going the way we're going. We have 12 steps. A lot of newcomers who come in like to go through our 12 steps. If you go on our website, juggalosandrecovery.com, everything's up there. And I'm going to keep updating it. But we've got the way we handle everything here is very open. It's whatever works for you. It's not like, okay, we have this set plan and we're going to follow this set plan for everybody and their brother. It's you are your own person who deals with things in a different way than everybody else. What works for you? And we find ways to help you.
Nice. Sharing a lot of experience note then, yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the biggest way to help each other, is giving each other the experience that we've dealt with to hopefully give you information that can help you in the future or in the present.
I dig it, man. Did y'all have a pretty good turnout at the gathering?
Yeah, the gathering was ridiculous. We were working 20 to 22 hours. Just the parking lot party, we had about 200 people coming through our tent daily. During the actual gathering, we were getting, because we were outside of the venue in the parking lot the whole gathering, so we were getting about 100 people a day going through our tent at a minimum, which is still a lot.
Yeah. And the 5 gatherings, and none of them were sober.
We will be inside next gathering. We've already got plans on everything going on. We've got new things going to be added, old things getting revamped to make sure everything's working nice. Things are going to be pretty amazing.
Did anyone invest in Juggalo Island?
I did a long time ago.
Yeah.
I made a ton of money off of that.
Yeah, they did.
Hello, Chris.
I exist more.
How you holding up?
Better, but my schedule's continuing to get busier.
Really?
Oh yeah. We'll cover that after meeting,
Okay.
because that's gonna change a little bit of my schedules going forward.
All right.
How did you recover?
Oh, I'm fine.
I
haven't stopped.
I'm not at all surprised. I slept for like 3 days after the gathering.
I got home. Gil ended up coming home with me. He stayed for my birthday, and then I got him a bus ticket home the following day. And then I was able to relax. And then, I didn't relax as well. I relaxed enough for my body. And then I've started doing what I texted you earlier and
Uh-huh.
adding to the book and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And why am I not surprised?
I mean, shit's got to get done somehow.
I know it. I'm looking forward to seeing our topic at the end of this. It seems like we've got a decent crowd already. Our lives are pretty popping tonight.
Yeah, I got do you guys have the Facebook Live up by any chance?
I do.
Okay. Because I am not um watching all the comments. I just have it up.
Yeah, usually moderate the comments during meetings just so that it's a little bit easier to continue engaging. That
Yeah.
way, whoever's hosting can focus on the Zoom meeting.
Speaking of Zoom meeting, let me pull up the opening. Since we already have a decent group right now, I'm going to introduce everything. And then, so what's going to happen is I'm gonna lead us into the meeting. I'm gonna play the topic song, explain it a little bit, and then the floor will be open for whoever wants to talk. Welcome everybody to the meeting of Juggalos in Recovery. We are glad you are here, especially newcomers. The first rule of Juggalos in Recovery is we tell everybody about Juggalos in Recovery. The second rule is we want to kick your addiction in the balls. And third rule, of course, is to call your mom. On a serious note, my name is Frank. I'll be hosting this meeting. We are here to fight back against our addictions and enjoy our lives. If you are fighting an addiction, then I'm glad you are here. If you are here to support us or someone you know, then thank you very much and much respect. This meeting is held as of right this moment every other Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Open the room 30 minutes beforehand. Juggalos in Recovery is an open choice meeting. While this is an open meeting, we ask you to share only if you have a desire not to use. Now the steps for Juggalos in Recovery. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction and that we could not handle life anymore. Step 2. We came to believe the carnival could help us screw our fucking heads on straight. Step 3. We made a decision to not only serve ourselves, but also our community. Step 4. We looked at ourselves deeply without fear to recognize the good and bad in us all. Step 5. We opened up to the carnival, ourselves, and other juggalos about the shitty and not so shitty things we did during our lives. Step 6, we were entirely ready to have our community take our flaws and show us how to make them our strengths. Step 7, we asked humbly that the carnival take our flaws and guide us to the path of Shangri-La. Step 8, we made a list of all persons we'd hurt during our lives and became willing to admit our fuck-ups and change our ways. Step 9, we forgive ourselves as long as we try to fix our fuck-ups without causing any more drama. Step 10, we continue to fix ourselves daily as soon as we realize that we fucked up. 11, the truth of the matter is we can lean on our Juggalo family let me reread that. The truth of the matter is we can lean on our Juggalo family so we can find happiness. And step 12, having our eyes open to this new way of life, we now carry this message to other addicts who are still suffering, whether Juggalo or not, because every human matters. The song of the week is House of Mirrors off of the Ringmaster. I'll play the song for a little bit and then we'll go from there. So House of Mirrors, I was listening to the Joker Cards playlist earlier, and this song came up. Actually, I just clicked random, and it was the first song that popped up. And I was like, okay, that's what it is. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to kind of twist it a little bit. House of Mirrors, we're going to talk about how we saw ourselves, the different versions of ourselves when we were in active addiction, when we were in recovery, now that we are in recovery. We're also going to talk about brain. Not my little computer. We're also going to talk about the different versions of ourselves that we saw versus what other people saw. How we think we acted and portrayed ourselves versus how people actually received us on the other end of our addiction and now in our sobriety. I know for me, coming into this, it's having that reality kind of shoved in my face of what people saw me as, the type of person that I am, was kind of a wake-up call to me, because I thought I was acting a completely different way. I was selfish. I was rude and intolerable and just all kinds of not so good things, especially in the beginning of my sobriety. And even now, 9 years in, I realize that there's still a lot of work I need to do to portray the type of person I want to be. I feel like I'm doing better at it, but the reality is I always have room to improve. So whoever would like to talk first, you can talk about the topic. You can talk about whatever's bothering you or on your mind today. Whatever goes on, you're more than welcome to share. Raise your hand if you want to go next.
Yeah, I'll share.
All right, go ahead, Ian.
So my name's Ian. I'm an addict, and well, like I was sharing with the group earlier today. Can y'all hear me right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, like I was sharing with the group earlier today. Today's my 9 months clean and sober, completely clean and sober, thanks to my higher power, the program that I work, that I was taught through my home group, and so I relate heavily with the principles y'all shared earlier and try to incorporate those in my everyday lives. And as far as the topic goes, I think it's a good one because image and how you see yourself and how you see the world and how others see you goes is really rooted in it can't for me it was rooted in a lot of like ego and fear and it came into a lot of self-loathing, and at the time, several years, man, like 20 years ago when I started getting into ICP and psychopathic and that whole record label and that whole music scene, I identified quite closely with the message and tried my I felt called to the scene and to the lifestyle, and so I pretty much was all in, no problem. And, drugs and alcohol came along with that lifestyle, and pretty much drove me to some pretty dark places. And what's crazy is that even when we went to like shows and mini gatherings back in the day in Dallas, we had a whole crew and a group that we would, that would pretty much regularly go to these events. Always felt out of place, even amongst, kind of an outcast group. I always felt out of place, even though I felt and identified it so hard with that culture and that group and that lifestyle. I spent a lot of time and energy and effort into trying to gain acceptance in that within the identity that I had, which was a false identity based on fear. You know what I mean? What do they call that? Self-centered fear. Basically, scared of what other people are think about you and what other people how they perceive you, and that took up so much of my mind space, and how I interacted with the world. That ultimately and eventually, as my addiction wore on, I started isolating greatly. You know what I mean? And guilt and shame of how I would act and how I thought I was being perceived by others rules my existence and how I interacted with the world. It took me to, like I said, some really dark places until I realized, you know what I mean, that things had to change. And one of the biggest reasons I was seeking what I call a spiritual awakening. I forget which y'all referred to it in the 12th step, but having had a spiritual awakening in the AA step is what I call it. That's what I was seeking, man, is a spiritual awakening, and hopefully to deal with the resentments that I had against myself and everybody else. But in the process of that, I was taught that self-centered fear was a huge character defect of mine, and so basically what I had to do was uncover the core reasons and the underlying reasons on why I was feeling this way about myself and everybody else. And over time, as I dealt with the underlying baggage that I had to deal with personally, that had nothing to do with anybody else, I felt like a sense of relief, like a weight coming off my shoulders. And in the process of that, by feeling more confident and secure in my own self and identity, by creating a new identity, I no longer place so much importance on the perspective that others had on me. And identity, man, is a huge thing because I was scared to give up that identity that I had on myself. The fear of the unknown was really, really powerful. In that if I wasn't who I thought I was trying to be, who I really wasn't, then who would I be? You know what I mean? And in some groups they call that center of the donut. You just fall out of existence if you're not who you think you're going to be. But the outcome of that, man, it was so much greater than I could have ever thought because I didn't have to change very much. You know what I mean? Like to be confident and secure in my own skin, and like I said, the outcome of the work I put in my sobriety has been the best thing I've ever done in my life. And you know what I mean? I can still enjoy the same situations, the same music, the same general lifestyle, while being a much more positive and confident type of person. And now today, I look at myself in the mirror with a whole new outlook, without the shame and guilt of my past or my actions. I can look at myself proudly and confidently that I've done something that I never thought I could do, and that today is why I walk around with my head up and my chin up, and I'm not scared to look at people in the eye, and I know who I am now, and that's an amazing and satisfying and fulfilling way to live my life, and I don't regret it at all. I don't regret the past or wish to change it. I simply learned from it, grew as a person. I'm 35 years old, and I'm in the best spot that I've ever been in my life. So that's really what I got. Thanks, y'all.
That's good, Ian. Thanks for sharing. That was pretty powerful stuff you were talking about there. I like that. Anybody else like to share? I know y'all don't want to just hear my voice for the next hour.
Or come on, Frank. Give
Nope.
us some more shit.
Sounds like you, Chris.
Oh yeah.
You.
No, I need you to talk more about how going through a house of mirrors is going to reveal the worst parts of yourself, and that makes you a better person on the other way out.
It sounds like you're gonna talk about it yourself. And go.
You already know better. I don't have long-term speaking skills. I am quick and to the point. The idea of the song makes a lot of sense, especially when looking through the eyes of sobriety. So the idea of having to confront all of your fuck ups by making your amends if you're working the 12 steps makes a whole lot of sense, especially because you have to look at yourself and see the worst things that you did and try to figure out how that's going to affect you on the other side. How are you going to learn from your mistakes? How are you going to try to fix those issues that you caused? And how is that going to impact how you're going to treat people on the other side of everything? Because it's always going to be a journey. Speak more to that, Frank.
Oh, you're so shy, Chris. So,
No, my voice is just still blown out.
it sounds perfectly fine from here. So, one of the hardest things I've had to deal with in sobriety is to learn how to accept what my reality is. When you're walking through a house of mirrors, you got all those funky, crazy ones. You look short and fat and tall and skinny and just weird, got big old alien head and all that stuff. That is how the reality is that's how I saw myself during my addiction. But to me, that was normal. And from other people's perspectives, it was they saw that as me being it could be a version of me that was being fake or a version of me that was um hurting others or a version of me that was just um pretending to know something or whatever the case was. um there was a lot of fake things when I was in active addiction. Now in sobriety, I've learned that no matter who or what, um, no matter who sees me or how they see me, I am going to be the same person through and through. And that's been a very hard thing for me to do because I trained myself to have different personalities during my addiction so I would fit in with whoever I was around. And now I'm finally letting go of those unrealistic expectations I put on myself. And I have finally got to the point to where I'm comfortable with being me. I'm happy with being me. And now all I'm doing is fine tuning how other people see me. And that is a chore because you can't please everybody. All you can do is make the best version of you. D, I see you got your hand up, so it's all you, brother.
Man, I wanted to share a long time ago. I just was in the middle of drug testing people and taking money from people. I love the topic. I know for me, when I was in my addiction, you can hear me good. I have Bluetooth on. Okay. I know when I was in my addiction, I was like a chameleon. You know, I fit into whatever group to get by. Um, so I don't. I guess everybody would view me differently. I know I'm a little abrasive or blunt. So I'm not everybody's cup of tea, especially when I was out there using. But I had a very low self-esteem in regard to self-worth and dealt with a lot of like my bipolar stuff. And so my own opinion of myself was probably the worst. I was the biggest critic at the same time of not giving a fuck also of all the damage I caused. But knowing like you know, I hurt a whole bunch of people, but a critic to myself, I guess like self-esteem wise, I guess would be the best way to put it. A lot of self-loathing, self-hatred, and what's the point of existence? And when I got sober, I mean, besides the music and the lifestyle, like the what I've always been, Juggalo was I remolded my whole thought process in the way I viewed myself and had to learn who I even was because I was so muddied with all the past traumas and drug addiction, all the past stuff that I didn't even know who I was at 30 years old when I got sober, And through learning to be comfortable in my own sin and not take myself so seriously and learning how to like adapt to different personalities, different people, I am me all the time. And as a result of me all the time, I really don't give a fuck what people think about me, but the fact after having the clown flu coming back, the COVID and being gone for a week and all the people texting and checking up on me and worried about me and everybody's reaction when I got back to work tonight just shows me what people actually think about me, which is more than I think about myself. Tons of hugs, tons of smiles, tons of, I'm so glad you're back. And the love is there, which is something I didn't have in my addiction. People just tolerated me if I had money and drugs. Nobody really wanted to deal with me now, So it's crazy how drastically things can turn around just with time and effort of working on yourself, focusing on yourself. And the attraction people get from your energy or your vibe, the positive mindset or whatever it is, the type of people you draw towards you, right? And how you're able to help people as you were in those same dark spots and they see that light and they come to you and you're able to help them, It's a beautiful thing too. Like Chris said, amends. That was the shittiest part of my recovery. It took me like 3 years to make some of my biggest amends, which were all to like next to kin blood, because stuff I didn't want to let go. But once I faced that and dealt with it, like the best I ever felt in my life.
Yeah, those amends are very, very important in recovery.
Those are character builders.
Yes, they are. Is that all you got for right now, D?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ty's up. Go ahead, Ty.
What up, y'all? Everybody can hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, sorry, having camera difficulties. I, lost the plug to my camera while at the gathering, but it's all right. Some of y'all have been looking at me for a week, and a
Well, we
week.
missed that face, Ty.
You ain't gotta lie. Yeah, but no, this is a good topic. House of Mirrors. What it makes me think of is the fourth step. Just like working out and cleaning house and just looking at like my character defects. And every day I'm looking at my character defects. Those the program that I work, the meat and the real meat and potatoes, as they say, are those middle steps. And like working on myself and cleaning house, trusting God and then helping others. I don't do those on an even balance, those three things. And some of y'all might know that and have witnessed that firsthand. But those are those character defects that still rise up, that still like face me every single day, whether I have an obsession to drink or not, or to use or what have you. Even when I'm at places like the gathering where I'm working and I'm also like experiencing bliss, I still run into other issues that are outside of the gathering that I have to deal with and still maintain my serenity. you know, and keep the peace. So really, like, you know, working on myself even today, you know, I got into a little bit of an argument with somebody just because like I just didn't want things just, you know, happened unexpectedly, you know, and there was no need for me to get upset, you know, but my first initial thing was to react, you know, and rather than to think it out. So, you know, that's a character defect of mine, is, you know, needing to take that step, and reacting, and usually that reaction is anger, you know, that's the real character defect, is the anger, not necessarily the reacting, because a reaction could just be me stopping, you know, um and not doing anything, you know. So there's different ways to react to certain situations, and you know, it's important to remind ourselves of that, you know, however way we can, you know. Since I'm taking some classes this week, so like my usual routine is a little bit off. I have, you know, I have to get up a little bit earlier so I can catch a certain meeting, you know, but I still want to write my list, and I still, or my gratitude list, and then, you know, I still want to, you know, meditate and get, you know, my coffee in before I, like, you know, deal with the world and stuff. So I have to, you know, if I want to, you know, maintain this serenity and want to maintain this sobriety, I need to adjust, um to what life is throwing at me, you know. So these classes, you know, I couldn't reschedule, whatever, they're at 10 o'clock, same time as my other meeting. So I'm waking up a few hours earlier so I can catch an earlier meeting, you know, because my sobriety has to be the number one thing that comes. And, you know, and as soon as I start to put any of those other things, like, yeah, this is what I need to do, yeah, this is what I have to do, um, and put that before my sobriety, I'll lose that just as quickly. So it's important to maintain that, you know, and to look at myself and to know myself beforehand, because, you know, you hold up that mirror, you get reminded of that stuff that's, like, you know, that's from your past, you know, and it's good to have those reminders. So thanks, Frank. This is a great topic. Ty, alcoholic. I don't know if I said that in the beginning, but great to be here. Love you guys.
Love you too, Pat.
Thanks, Ty. I appreciate that. And I really hope you find your cable for your camera. Hopefully it didn't get caught up in all my stuff. Let me text me, let me know what it looks like, and I'll see if it got caught up in my stuff. Anybody else?
Woody, Frank,
What?
open-hearted joins us, Frank.
I know, I see that. Does Woody Woo wanna talk? What about Frankie D over there? Does he want to talk?
Yeah, I'll share a little something. Hi, I'm Frankie. I'm an addict. Um, this is my first like full-length official Juggalos in Recovery meeting. You know, Frank and I have been in contact with each other for the past, I don't know what, 2-3 years or so, going back and forth about recovery and talking about it. Um, you know, it's refreshing to hear a different perspective on recovery, especially coming from the Juggalo world. And I didn't realize that there were certain that this I don't want to say organization, this fellowship, this community had its own rules and steps in it. Um, you know, it it reminds me to be open-minded, of course. Um, you know, take a different look, a different perspective on it. Um, I've been part of another fellowship for about 9.5 years, although I only have 8.5 years clean. Um, you know, topic House and Mirrors. You know, um, I definitely remember an active addiction. Um, I didn't look at myself. I didn't look at my part in most or all situations that I was involved in, or um, even cared about it if I did. Um, you know, it took a lot of time, a lot of love, a lot of step work to change my perspective on myself and how I looked at things. Um, you know, when I came into a recovery fellowship, um, I honestly didn't know if I could still remain in like the Juggalo world and go to concerts. It was a very big um, question mark in my life, right? Because when I went to my first gathering in 2005, um, I was messed up the entire time. Like I barely remember anything, right? And the only parts that I do remember were the ones where I was really fucked up, trying to get the next one, thinking I was being cool, but really I was just being a dumbass, and well, a dumbass more than usual. Um, and then while when I got clean, right, I went to the 2017 gathering, and I could tell you every single thing that happened every single day right now. Um, and I remember when I went to that gathering, I had brought with me my Just for Today meditation book because I wanted to make sure I made recovery a part of my daily routine every day I was at the gathering, right? Because, you know, the way I stay away from the second one is that I don't pick up the first one. Um, and you know, I'm very grateful that my friends who still use around me, and they're in the juggalo world, and and they do drugs and shit. Um, they don't judge me. They don't pressure me. They don't make me do things I don't want to. They don't make me feel left out. And that was one of the big reasons why I fell in love with like the juggalo music and juggalo lifestyle, right? Because I needed a place to belong. I needed a place to fit in. And by getting some spiritual principles, step work, I had a spiritual awakening. And once again, I found myself being able to fit in, right? And like I fit in a whole lot better now into this lifestyle that I have, into this culture that's been developed for about 30 years or so, um, right? So like today, like I can look at myself um, with no shame. Um, I can look at myself with self-respect, honesty, self-love, self-care, um, and it took a lot of work. Like today's Just for Today, and my in the fellowship that I go to, the title was Overtime, not overnight. Um, so like I didn't get to where I am from the stuff that I did last night, right? Like it took all the meetings that I go to, because of meetings being on the Zoom platform, I get to make a meeting every single day. Um, I have a sponsee who I get to work with every single day, and I have a sponsor that I get to work with every single day, if I choose to do those things, right? Um, and I don't want to take up too much time. So last thing I'm going to say is that tomorrow I'm going for shoulder surgery. It's my second most major surgery I've had in my life. I'm not really scared. I'm not really worried about it. I was in a car accident a couple months ago, and they're doing stuff to fix me. And I'm no martyr, right? Like if I'm prescribed pain medication, I'll take it as prescribed, right? So when it says take 2 every 6 hours, that's just what I'll do. I'm not going to take 6 every 2 hours, right? Because that's just uh, that's just fucking around. So yeah, I'm really glad that I'm here. I'm really glad that I'm choosing to experience this type of recovery. To see where it is now, and from when I heard about it years ago, um, it's growing, and I'm very excited about it, and I think I'm gonna try and come back here every week. I from what I see, it's only a weekly meeting. hopefully one day we can get up to 5 days. You know, who knows? So thanks for letting me share, guys.
Thanks, Frankie. I appreciate you showing up. I've been watching your recovery through Facebook and all that stuff. It's been really it's made me happy seeing your growth over the years, and I'm very happy that you've come in and experienced this. Just being able to have other people be a part of Juggalos in Recovery who have different views on recovery in the world actually helps Juggalos in Recovery become better, because we're not going to shut anybody out or push anybody out because they have different beliefs than us. We are one community who work together to heal, and that's what we stand for. That's what our slogan is. We put the unity in community because that's everything we believe in. Let's see. Stacy, I know you got something to call me out on. Give me something to talk about. She's not even paying attention to me.
If Stacy doesn't, I can.
Okay, call me out on something, Chris, so I can talk.
I was listening.
No, well, to call me out on something so I can talk. Give me something. Give me a starter.
Give me something.
Oh, you want to talk? Talk about.
No. I mean, like, I need you to give me kind of like an idea, because I can call you on a bunch of shit that has nothing to do with this.
Well, keep it on the meeting topic. How I've seen myself versus how you've seen me. Give me an example so I can tell my side, and then you can go ahead and tell your side, so we can have a real life example in this.
That you were too good for AA.
All right, show off.
Sorry.
That was all of us were rock bottom.
No, this was back in 2019, a little bit before 2020.
Yeah, this is before Juggalos in Recovery really took off. I had an ego and proud moment where it lasted a little bit. I refused to go to AA meetings because my excuse was the people there were closed-minded and they didn't show that they cared. Now, the reality of the situation was they really cared. They just weren't doing what I wanted them to do. So my control of the situation hurt me, and my lack of control over it actually ended up hurting me, because I made up some stupid ass excuse to not go. And I told myself I didn't need AA, I was doing fine, all that. And then I ended up what AA and now Juggalos in Recovery does for me is allows me to get out of my head and allows me to work on myself and have things like this pointed out to me so I don't make those same mistakes over and over again. And what ended up happening was I ended up getting very emotionally flared moods where they became uncontrollable and lashing out verbally to people around me. Yeah, see, Bryant knows that fate. Bryant knows how that is.
I've done it.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that's what the House of Mirrors stands for me, is not allowing myself to get into those positions again, so I don't hurt the people around me or myself, because I refuse to accept people or things for what they are and keep an open mind. And as Open-Hearted Juggalo says, as addicts, we push away anything different and encourages change. This is why the support system is so important. It's very true, very true. And that's what we're here for. That's what our community stands for. We point these things out, and that's why I enjoy Chris and Stacy pointing things out, and I'm sure Bryant will eventually once he gets to know me better. I like being called out on things because it allows everyone who's listening to pay attention to their own lives and realize that I'm just a human being, even though this is the brainchild of mine. Go ahead, babe.
Yeah, you don't like being called out.
I
But
like being called out when it's within my control, okay?
So you don't want
I
to be called
love
out.
calling Frank out.
Well, like I noticed that you're erratic up and down roller coaster fucking crap you put me through. But like I remember one time I was like, dude, you need to go to an AA meeting. You need to talk to your sponsor. Fuck you, I'm moving out of this house. Bitch, get your shit out. I don't fucking care. I'm just outside mowing the motherfucking grass. I don't give a fuck. Bye. About 20 minutes later, oh babe, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you're right. I was like, get your fucking ass to a meeting. Like, I'm fucking done with this shit. And it had to get like down and nasty for me to tell you that you need to get the fuck out and go to a fucking meeting, because what you're doing is not good for yourself, more or less the people around you. Because at the time, you're fresh in Henry's life and our son's life, and I'm just like, no, 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 no.
Go ahead, D.
So on that note, just waiting. So you said you got 9 years sober, Frank, right?
Yeah.
So right at your 5-year slump, that's when all this was happening, which is a common thing with us alcoholics. And then me and you, we're both the workaholic type, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're so good in our sobriety, right? So we can do all these other things. So we get that angry, lonely, tired, right? Because we choose to distance ourselves, which I do from time to time. And then every time I miss my home group for like a week, they're all like, "Where the fuck you been? What are you doing?" Calling me out on it, but it's all out of love, right? And on the note of what Open Hearted Woody Woo was talking about, right? Like when we get sober, it's scary because everything's changing, right? So like I didn't know how to love myself or care about myself. People would like say, I went to this porch meeting at this guy's house all the time. I walk in the door, he's like, "Hey bro, how you been? I love you." And I'm like, "You don't even fucking know me." And it make my skin crawl, right? Because I didn't know how to accept people that had affection for me and wanted to see me do the positive things and the right things. And it made me feel awkward, right? And I had to learn how to accept that some people actually care without a motive behind it, right? Because I was so used to the people that only cared was there was a motive for money or drugs or what can I get from you, right?
Yep.
And those people doing that encouraged me and made me change to where I am more willing to do things for people without thinking anything of it or wanting anything. I'm just doing this because I can, right? I say it all the time. I'm doing it because I feel like it, because I can't. But I didn't ask you anything. I'm doing it. Whatever you choose to do later is on you, but I'm doing it because people did the same thing for me,
Yep.
right? So when you spend a lifetime bottling emotions and feeling awkward and all this other stuff, all those open-hearted people, regardless of what fellowship you're in, right, is what brings out the best and helps us build those characters. Just like Frankie was talking about the gathering, like my gathering, first one was sober, and I walked into a whole bunch of open armed dudes and like didn't know him from Adam, was just myself kicking it, and I felt the most love, and I was like, all right, I'm comfortable. This is where I'm supposed to be. And it was a beautiful thing. Just like when I walk into my home group of Drug Addicts Anonymous, I feel right among my tribe, my people there, because there's the people that are just like me that care about me being the best me and not going back to how I was.
Yep. You got some powerful words there, D.
Called you out, Frank. There you go. You're welcome.
Who are you pointing at, babe? You got to remember, not everybody's screen looks like yours. For me, you're pointing at Ian. Why are you calling Ian out like that?
What did Ian do now?
Apparently, I don't know. Careful, Ian. She's got your number now. Let's see. Ty, you've been quiet. You've got something else to say. I know you do. Mr. Ty, are you there? I think he's ignoring us. Lisa, I see that you have joined the meeting. Are you willing to share today?
He's on the phone.
Sure. I wasn't going to just because I'm going through like really shitty withdrawals right now. I'm, only in a couple days sober right now, so still going
Well,
through
I
crazy
appreciate you showing up to
sickness.
the meeting.
Yeah. I am really glad I'm here, and honestly, like this is like my second time going through this type of situation, and the first time, I had over 10 years clean, so I know I can totally do this. Um I had a little slip up during COVID. Just I was really lonely and just really isolated, and that just kind of broke me down. And I got really weak, and in a moment of weakness, just fell back into some old ways. And I caught it early enough, fortunately, to where it's not that bad. Like the last time I did this, it was way worse. I just keep telling myself that this isn't as bad. I don't have to be in a hospital. I can be in the comfort of my own bed. I'm in California. I can have my Cali sober, which over here that means we still smoke our dabs or our weed. We don't look at it, But some people, there are some groups where I have to refrain from talking about that because they still consider,
Yeah.
smoking,
Just
So
so
I
you
know
know,
everybody's a little different on that,
yeah, Juggalos in recovery. We don't judge. Whatever sobriety works for you, works for you.
So I mean that's just kind of where I'm at right now. I'm in the beginning stages, but I've been through this before, and I know that like just in general, what I was using is so fucking dangerous, right now. And I've seen this inside video of how they're making this shit, and it scared the fuck out of me, man. Scared me to death.
I bet.
And yeah, it was enough to make me quit right there. And I know for real this time, I just got to think of that. I may feel sick right now, but not any more sick than when I was just putting like straight poison in my body. I would still get sick when I was getting high too. I would get sick when I was high. I feel sick now. You know what I mean? That's just got to try to be positive, and that's why I'm really thankful for this group because I've been a few times in here, and everybody's like really positive, and yeah, some real juggalos up in here, some real loving motherfuckers. So I love y'all. Whoop whoop, and thanks for listening to me.
Thanks, Lisa. Ty, I see you have your hand up. Go right ahead.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, I heard you call me out.
Sorry, I
got
didn't
home.
mean to interrupt your phone call.
Nah, it's fine. It wasn't really that important, but it was a phone call that I couldn't ignore. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, you guys are kind of crushing it tonight. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I've added what I can. I mean, it's just good to hear some like it's good to see new faces. It's good to see familiar faces. You know, just the experience of the gathering itself and like moving forward with like what we have right now, and what we can have moving forward. It just feels good, and I'm glad to have this, and I'm glad that other people can find this um just as helpful, hopefully we can start doing more days, and different meeting formats and different whatever. There's so many different ways to recover, and I'm just grateful that this group exists. So I don't want to just ruin it all. You guys have been killing it with my babbling, so you know whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Well, does anyone have any last minute shares they would like to do before we close the meeting? Just so everyone is aware, when the meeting is closed, there will be board of directors meeting afterwards. So if you are not on the board, other than Bryant, you are more than welcome to stay. No, I'm sorry. Other than Bryant, who is more than welcome to stay, everyone else needs to get off the meeting. Please. Don't laugh at me. I've got a lot of stuff going on in my head right now.
We are trying to make it every week. Rudy will.
Yes.
That was funny. Bryant, you cannot stay, but everybody else can.
So, all right. Anyways, with that, I am going to close the meeting. We are going to do our best to get 5 days a week at a minimum. We will end up getting more volunteers and so on. But with that, if you did not get a chance to share, you are more than welcome to message Juggalos in Recovery, the group, the page, email, go on the Juggalos in Recovery website and contact us if you want to volunteer, if you want to have ideas that we could do to help improve what we're doing. But with that being said, I appreciate all of you showing up. I'm glad that we are all here to support each other. With that, I'm going to close with our normal closing. I believe no matter how long the road, if we walk together, we will get there. Even though we will face some of the darkest evil ever seen, we will face it as a community and stand fearless in its path. Nothing will stop us. With the help of our family and community, we will overcome the persecution and tribulations that life may cast from time to time. To the ones who still suffer and haven't found the path to serenity and community, we will continue to search for you and help you no matter what your ailment. We carry our stories and messages to everyone who will listen. As the sun descends and night becomes, we rise to take the path. Whoop, whoop. Thank you all for showing up. We will see you next time.